Hello writers, come write with me. My name is Mykela Greenwood. I create worlds for mind adventures. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Write with Mykela. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you can go on this journey with me. Today is Tuesday, so we are going to have a writing prompt. Already we have written about a cave. We actually wrote about 2 caves and used our senses, all of our senses, sight, sound, hearing, smell, maybe not taste, but all of our senses. And then for the first cave, we added peaceful or relaxing or exciting emotions. And for the second cave, we added emotions of fear or dread, something that would be a little bit more along the lines of scary. So we added those emotions to our caves. Later, we came back to the cave and I asked a couple of questions. And you were to pick one of your caves and write a scene to answer one or both of the questions. I continued with my scary cave. Today's writing exercise is before your cave. Were you or your character in a meeting to decide where to go to explore or where to go? If you were just out in the woods or in a field exploring, why were you there? Was this someplace you and your characters went often? If that's so, why didn't you see or notice the cave before? Did you get lost? Were you with other people and somehow got separated from them? When I read the addition I did to my scary cave, I indicated we planned to spy on the enemies and things didn't go as planned. Excuse me. So now I will go back in time, not in the sense of a flashback, but I will start the cave scene sooner than when we started. And that's the gist or the essence of the writing assignment today. What happened before you found the cave? You can use either cave from the first writing exercise that we did with this, but it would probably be better if you use the same cave you picked for the second writing exercise we wrote, and you answered one or both questions. And the questions were, what did you find in the cave and how do you get out? So those were the questions we did the second time we wrote on the cave. So if you will pick the one that you continued, and now you have those 2 pieces. So now we're going to go before the 2 pieces and write how you found this cave. If you want to continue in first person, that's fine. If you decide that you want to switch to third person because we're basically starting a story here, then by all means switch to third person and use a character's name. Excuse me. I think I'm going to use Zolira for my character's name. And later I can change all the I's to Zolira's name. Also, if I decide later that I don't like Zolira and I want some other name, I can change that as well. It's no big deal. So this is just a paragraph or page. We are setting up your story for finding the cave. It could be a week before or a day before or an hour before. You decide how far in advance you plan this excursion before you found the cave. If you have camped or picnicked in this area before, then let us see the normal. Maybe normally you have a picnic and you're just sitting out there and you're enjoying the fresh breeze and the flowers and the time that you wrote about the cave the first time, maybe you suddenly saw a bear or something so let us see the normal, and then you can come back with whatever you did when we found the cave. So have fun and create. Welcome back, writers. I hope you enjoyed writing today. Let me read what I wrote. Commander Thurnell gathered his people together. Okay, everyone, this is serious. As you know, Tom and Grant went to Maldrake's compound to see if they could map it out. They sent back several messages with some details, but we lost contact with Grant, and Draver saw Maldrake's soldiers shoot Tom. in the back and kill him as Tom was trying to run away from the compound. Draver barely made it back, but he has all the short-range data messages both sent. He paused and looked around at all the stoic faces. Then he continued and told his team how he felt their new equipment working at mapping the compound. He told his team how he felt their new equipment worked at mapping the compound and finding the cameras. But unfortunately, he felt that Maldrake's soldiers had technology to sense any technology within the compound. So they needed people to get in and learn what Maldrake was doing with the people they captured and with the animals they were bringing in. Several people volunteered, and Zolira was one of them. Zolira was average height for a woman, and her brown hair went just past her shoulders. Brambert was another volunteer. He was tall, at 6 feet 4 inches in height. He was broad-shouldered and muscular. Missant and Choleric also volunteered. All the volunteers understood that they could possibly die during their mission, but they all knew what was at stake. They were the last people of the resistance, and if they failed, then the people would lose all freedom, and they might even lose humanity as they knew it. Commander Thurnell briefed each volunteer separately on their mission. No one knew what the other 3 people were doing, and none of them could bring any electronics that had any type of signal. Zolira, did I spell that the same? Sorry. No, I did not. Zolira had an old-fashioned camera and a few other old-fashioned things. She would head into the compound in 3 days. During the 3 days, Zolira put her affairs in order. She updated her will, and she exercised and did meditation. Finally, the day came, and she slipped out of their camp and headed to the compound. Her plan was to find Grant and for them to leave just as night was arriving, so they could escape in the dark. She arrived to the compound, avoided the cameras by going between where they were viewing, and she timed it just right. She used her cable and climbed the wall. After she pulled herself on the walk path around the wall, she squatted down and allowed herself to catch her breath. She couldn't believe that she didn't see anyone yet, but she couldn't spend time in unbelief. She had a time limit to get off the walk path before the drone hovered over it again. Zolira carefully slipped into the compound and avoided all the cameras that she knew about. She kept her eyes on the lookout for any cameras their technology missed. A few times, she pulled out her old-fashioned pocket watch to check the time. She had gone over the time interval several times. She was much relieved when she arrived at the camera room and was able to quickly deactivate the robot manning the cameras. Then she deactivated the cameras. Zolira then slipped through the hallways to go where they felt the prisons were located, and she had 2 more halls to go. Suddenly, she saw flashing lights in the halls. Holy moly, she said to herself. She knew she had to leave. She wasn't sure which alarm she tripped, but her time was up. Thankfully, there was a hallway not too far ahead that would let her out. She dashed down the hallway and out the door. She almost dashed on past the door, but she stopped, pulled out her pocket watch. She glanced up to see if she could spot the cameras. One indeed was swinging away. It was good that she paused a brief second. As soon as it was at a certain point, she knew she had 29 seconds to get across the yard, so she took off running. Zolira made it to the tunnel that went under the wall, but it was half full of water. She didn't want to splash, so she slipped in quietly and then went through the short tunnel as quickly as possible. When she got to the exit, she glanced up to look for cameras or drones. Once she felt she could run, she did. As she ran, She thought through what she had done wrong. What alarm did she trip? She didn't know. But if she had passed the exit tunnel and gone on to the prisons before she saw the flashing lights, she might not would have made it out at all. She continued running. Okay, writers, that is Before the Cave. Now, if I continued, I would have to bridge the pieces together. Today's section with the first writing that we did. The first piece that we read, or that I wrote and read to you, first piece started with, I'm running. It will be night soon, and I'm already losing light. Ahead, I see some woods. I glance over my shoulder, and I'm still far enough ahead that I don't think my enemy has spotted me, but I can't take the chance that they will find me. So now I'm going to leave out the I'm running, because we finished with she continued running. So we would leave that part out, and then we would change the rest to it would be night soon, and Zalira was already losing light. Ahead she saw some woods, so she realized she must be on the opposite side of the compound as what she went in. Zalira glanced over her shoulder, and she felt she was still far enough ahead that she didn't think her enemy had spotted her, but she couldn't take that chance. She briefly thought she was supposed to be leaving with Grant, but she couldn't dwell on those thoughts. Now the two scenes connect a little more, and of course I would have to smooth out the rest of it. Also, I could add thoughts of Grant or Zalira's failed mission while she's in the cave. And as you can see, this is just kind of really rough draft because I had Zalira and I had Zalira. So I had changed the spelling from Zolira to Zalira. And so I have to figure out which name I feel really fits this character, or if I want to change it all together. So, yeah, this is just rough draft. This is fun stuff. This is us just playing around, just dipping our toe in and seeing if we like it. This is at the start. This is not really with a drawn-out plot or anything. We're just kind of piecing things together. If we decide that we want to do it, then we would write out a plot, where we could have our interrelated events that build to a climax or what have you. This is just start. Sometimes this is how a story starts. You just start, you write a scene, and then you put it away, and then you come back and you look at it, and you're like, oh, I like this, and you add to it, and then before you know it, you've started a story. And before we know it, we have started a story together with these three pieces. And I would love to read your writings. I hope you've enjoyed adding to your cave and how you got there, or now how your character got there. And I want to read that. So I wanted you to enjoy it, and I want to enjoy your writing too. So just don't forget to send in your writings. And it's good. It doesn't matter if there's mistakes and stuff like that. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's polished. Are you having fun? And what questions do you have so you can take it on farther and see where it can go? Don't forget that Nano Wrimo starts November 1st. Leave a comment below if you signed up to participate in the challenge this year. Side note, the script for today, including all that I read but not including my ad-lib stuff, the script for the day is 1698 words total. So it's just a little more than your daily goal during National Novel Writing Month. So also send your writings about your cave to WritewithMykela@gmail.com, and send in your chapters for our shared plot 1 or shared plot 2. It's not too late to send for either one. Join me Friday for story time. I will read chapter 12 of Tahia. Join me Tuesday for some thoughts on certain types of words and some homonyms, which nowadays people call homophones and homographs. And we'll also touch on palindromes. Visit my website, WritewithMykela.com, and read some character bios. You could read about Jim Gary in Operatives 1. He's a minor character, but I had a lot of fun creating him and putting him in the beginning of the story. He's a character that gets he introduces you kind of to Allison, because he meets Allison first, and she's like the main character. So you get to see, he's had all these rumors about her, and so he meets her. So you get to see Allison from another perspective at that point, at the very beginning of the story. So I had a lot of fun creating Jim Gary. So if you hit like and subscribe and the bell notification, then we will continue to write together, and we will probably add to this cave and see what we can go, where we can go with it. I don't know if I'll put a plot together, or I'll just kind of let you make your own plot. I've kind of been dictating things, but you have latitude. So I've had fun with the cave. Thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate your participation. If you know someone who would like this video, then please share it with them. This is Mykela with Write with Mykela. Bye for now.